Hey everyone, it's Melody with designbymelody.com. Today I'm going to share a scrapbook layout process with you. This is made primarily using the Studio Calico October scrapbook main kit. I did not get any add-ons this month. I actually have yet to get an add-on. I'm still just working with the main kits to make sure I can use them up before I start adding things to it. As you can tell, we're already in November and I am still using the October kit. I have not actually gotten my November kit yet, so I'm going to justify it by that, but I am a little behind. I'm adding the photos. I have two different photos here. They're taken about a week or so apart from each other, but basically they're about the same thing, so I'm incorporating them in the same layout. I'm using this pink paper from the kit. It is called Berry Blush. It's basil. And this grid paper is the background, and it's also from the kit. I'm not actually sure which one it is, but it is from the October main scrapbook kit. And then you'll see this border strip that I'm using. It says a moment captured, and it's a manufacturer strip from one of the papers, the pattern papers in the kit. And there were 8. There were 8 pattern papers in this kit, so it's one of those 8. So the basis of this layout, it's going to be on this grid background, and I'm going to use all of these papers that I'm cutting here to a 2x2 square are from my scrap box. I have a box that I just throw a whole bunch of scraps in. This is where at the end of the month, if I have any scraps left from my kits, I throw it in there to use later on cards or other layouts or whatnot. Well, the other day I realized that my box is almost completely full, so I had to do something to use it, as well as right now I'm working with the October kit, so I decided to make this layout using a whole bunch of different scraps. I have a bunch of different colors here, but I do have a process behind it. I'm trying to incorporate a few pinks to go with the photo that's matted on the lighter pink. I'm trying to incorporate the greens and the teals just because I like the way that that looks with the pink, and then I have a couple other colors that I wanted in there just to kind of give it a pop of color. And I'm going to fiddle around with these for a while before I actually put anything down. I took a picture of it with my phone just in case I couldn't figure out how to make it work later. I could reference back how I first initially had it set out. I'm going to use this 12 by 12 paper, and this is, I believe, called London Fog by Basil, and I'm going to cut out the center of it since it's going to be covered. I'm going to keep the center just to be able to use later with other pages that I make or cards. If I have a piece of paper, pattern, or solid that's going to be covered up, primarily I try to cut out the piece that's going to be covered up so I can make the best use of my supplies. I cut off about a 1/2 inch off this grid paper so I could mat it, and you would be able to see the chocolate color on the outside. I tried this without that, but I felt like the edges got kind of lost, so I wanted to add a darker border around the edge, and this darker piece of cardstock is what came in the kit, so it worked perfectly. I'm just trimming out the photo mat here. I left it on initially because I played around with the idea of putting the title right there beside the photo, maybe going vertically instead of horizontally. But I've made the decision to trim that out and just have the photos matted on that pink. So now I've got as you can see, the photo right there on my phone, and I'm going to use it to pretty much set the grid back up with all these 2x2 squares. I'm trying to distribute the colors as well as keep in mind what colors are going to be mostly covered up. Just testing to see what's going to be covered up and what needs to go where. I probably could have left 1 or 2 of these blocks off, but I went ahead and put them all in just in case. I believe it ends up being about 2 of them you don't even see at all, but I wanted to make sure that once I put the photos down, everything was covered. So right now what I'm doing is just taking my 1/2 inch corner rounder. This is my crocodile corner chomper. I actually spread this layout within a couple days, so you see my shirt changed and the lighting changed and the camera angle changed. This actually gives you a better view of what I'm doing. And it's a little difficult to see here, but what I'm doing is I am rounding 2 corners on each of the on each of the 2 by 2 squares. You could leave them all squared, you can round them, you can do whatever you want. I was just trying to add a little bit more of an artistic flair to it, I suppose. Just evenly spacing this out. Having this grid as the background really helps with this. I did not use a ruler or anything like that, but you could very easily do that if you want. I now have all of the blocks adhered down. And my camera actually ran out of space there for a moment, so you missed a few things. What I've done is I've stitched around the outside border just with my sewing machine, and I've pasted these border strips down. The moment captured one was just slightly too short to go across the whole thing, so I used a couple of the other border strips and stacked them staggered. I'm using this large doily from Bo Bunny to put behind my photos. There were a lot of harsh corners because a lot of squares are on this, even with some of the corners rounded. There were just a lot of harsh corners, so this doily kind of helps soften it a little bit. I'm going to use this stamp set, and it says little. There's 2 different stamps in it. One of them says little and one of them says baby, and I will stamp this on the layout. But I'm just going through my the rest of the kit supplies just to see what goes with this. These tags and cutouts are actually from a 12 by 12 sheet that I cut apart that came in the kit. There's this little charm that is a little metal envelope with a heart on it that I'm considering using, and then there's also a couple different ribbons. I'm going to end up using this ribbon, this let's see, this ribbon is actually the Dusty, no, let's see, this one is the, I believe this one is Bay Leaf Seam Binding from Hug Snug. Came in the kit. I'm going to use it at the top as well as the bottom to add a little bit of embellishment as well as a little bit more texture to the layout. I need a place to put my journaling, and there's a lot going on this layout, so I just wanted to try to make it a little bit cohesive with the kit. So I'm going to use one of these smaller journaling cards that you see me playing around with, and I just can't decide which color. So eventually I will settle on one. And again, because the layout has a lot going on, I'm going to make my title in these smaller letter stickers. I considered using these for a subtitle, but I'm actually going to use this to be my main title. It's just going to be very small at the bottom of the layout, but your eye will be drawn there because that's also where the journaling is going to go. And this journaling spot that I'm going to use actually has some text on it, so I'm going to use these letter stickers to cover up the text that's on the journaling spot that does not go with my layout. So what these photos are of Kalen in his little boppy pillow, and he loved this pillow when he was little. He slept in it, he hung out in it, he ate in it. He just lived in this pillow for a couple months. So I had a bunch of pictures of him in the pillow, but I wanted to make sure I scrapped that because that was such an important thing when he was young, especially if he wanted to get something done like, you know, dishes or whatnot. Putting him in this pillow kept him safe and calm and happy. So, and as you can see, I covered up, like I said, that text that was already on the journaling block that I'm going to use. These little alphas are great. I've never used them before. These are from Tim and Beck, I believe. Let's see. So, yeah, they're called Block Alphas by Tim and Beck. I like them because they have a couple different fonts throughout the letters. There's multiple letters, multiple stickers for each letter, I guess you could say. So each letter has a whole bunch of different fonts that you can pick from. So you could use the same font throughout if you have enough letters, or mix them up. I like the mixed up version. I'm just writing out my journaling. I'm really making it a point, and I believe I mentioned this before, I'm really making it a point to use my own handwriting in my layouts. I don't really like my own handwriting in my layouts. I've always tried to type it first. But I figured to make it more personal, using my own handwriting is probably the better, well, maybe not better, but just a different way to go about it. So I'm trying to incorporate my own handwriting. In my scrapbook, I'm going to have a mixture between typed and printed journaling and handwritten journaling. But I think both are important. I'll use typed journaling if I have a lot more to write, just to make sure it all fits and looks a little neater. But I'm also trying to incorporate some more of my own handwriting as well. So I'm just taking off a couple of these pieces so I can add this ribbon border. I'm going to use this. This is actually the foam piece from my Stamp It Up paper piercing set. I'm just using it on the back, so as I staple and put this ribbon down, the staples are not, I guess, folded back under on the other side. I will actually go in and manually do that myself. I'm kind of using a ruching technique or bunching I don't know what you would actually call it, but I'm just basically I kind of bundle up a little bit, fold up a little bit, staple it down, fold up a little bit more, staple it down. I just wanted to add some more texture as well as add a border without adding more paper. I have plenty of paper on this layout, as you can see, but I wanted to add just a couple more embellishments without making it more colorful or more busy. This color matches great with the photos, or the papers that are already on the photo. Sorry, already on the layout. Let me try that again. I'm just using my scissors here to fold down the back, and then I'm also going to cover those with washi tape just so they don't pierce or puncture through whatever layout I have on the other side of the page protector in my album. This is what I do when I sew on the back, which you can see in the corner, just to make sure that the stitching doesn't come out, because I don't back stitch on layouts. I pull the loose threads through the back of the paper instead of back stitching. I'm going to use a little bit more of this ribbon, or seam binding, to put a smaller piece of this border on the bottom using the exact same technique. I wanted to tie in the same method at the bottom without being too much. Again, another piece of washi just to protect the staples. Okay, I'm putting the same pieces back on now. I'm going to adhere it. I'm using a little bit of foam tape to make the photos. This is a very thin foam tape, but this makes the photos stand up just a little bit to kind of offset the busyness and make the photos stand out just a little bit more. Here the stamping, again, my camera ran out of space, so I had to upload the footage, but I just stamped this stamp set directly on there, and it says Little Girl, and this is from Heidi Grace. I'm sorry, Little Boy, and this is from, I'm sorry, it says Little Baby, not Little Boy or Girl. I'm using that little charm that came in the kit to put at the end of the journaling. I had the smallest little spot left, so it's a perfect place to put it. Plus, again, it adds a little bit of a different element to the photo, to the layout. I'm playing around with a whole bunch of different embellishments here. I'm not sure what I want. A lot of these are from my stash that you're seeing now. I'm going through my label stickers, my let's see, snippets and everything through here. You see the sprinkles from Doodlebug. You see some Freckle Fawn stars. There's just a bunch of different things that I'm going through here trying to figure out what to use. I'm going to end up using one of these label stickers from Fancy Pants. It's the What a Wonderful Day label stickers. And you'll see it in the final photos. It's down in that bottom left corner by that border strip that I put down there with the seam binding. I'm using another little piece of the foam tape so I can overlap it over the seam binding without the sticker not being totally stuck down. I'm looking to see what other labels I can use, what other stickers I can use. This is my little package of, and here's another one. I have one of these little envelopes or baggies full of like speech bubbles from different things. And I do keep a little sheet of paper in there that I put what's in there so I can always reference it later. And I have the same thing for doilies. And most of these doilies are actually cut out of 12 by 12 sheets. There are a few packages that came already cut out. For instance, there's one from, I believe it's L Studio in there. Well, whatever it is, there's one already in there, but most of them are cut out from 12 by 12 sheets, and I believe I referenced this in another video at some point. But I like to keep those on hand, doilies, little round embellishments, as well as speech bubbles to use on my layouts. I tend to use them a lot. I look for round elements to kind of balance out the squareness of the photos and the layout and the different things that I'm adding. So there are a few of these paper doilies that are going to be scattered about. One sticking out from under that photo right there. To kind of fill in some of the space as well as, like I said, add a little bit more of a balance. Alright, so I'm just adhering everything down. This is pretty much all the embellishment I'm going to put on the on the layout. And that pretty much finishes my layout. I'll put some still shots at the end here so you can see it in more detail and up close, as well as you can visit my blog to see the blog post on this with the full supply list. My blog is www.designbymelody.com. Please let me know if you have any questions or if you'd like to see anything in particular. I have a few more process videos for layouts that I've done with this October kit coming up. This is just the first of many. I try to make at least 6 layouts with each kit, as well as a handful of cards. So I have a couple of things to share with you before I start working on my November kit. Just adding a few small final embellishments here. These are the Doodlebug design sprinkles, as well as a few of those glossy asterisks from a previous Studio Calico kit. Alright, and that completes the layout. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.